And today we're gonna do Feast of the Seven Fishes. Well, not today, it's gonna take me a few days to do all these. One of the most versatile and inexpensive seafood ingredients you could buy is calamari. These all said that they were cleaned and none of them were. You might encounter the same exact situation where you think you're buying cleaned, prepped squid and you're not. It's very easy to clean these. All right, so I have two right here. So here's the whole tube and here is the tentacles, and in the tentacles here you have the head. So all you have to do is kind of take it and pull it out. And I'm gonna pull it out right here and show you what it looks like. It's inedible, you can't eat it, so you really do have to get rid of that. As far as the size goes, the bigger they get, they tend to be not as tender. If you can get smaller ones, you might have to go to a fish market for this. Get the really maybe 3 or 4 inch size ones. Those are the ones that I used in the stuffed calamari that I made. And you really want, for those, you want to use 3, 4 inch tubes. So the squid is much smaller. But these are pretty good for doing fried and for a salad. Yeah, so if you want to remove this part, all you got to do is take it like this with your hands. See that? Right there, and that's gone. And you can discard that. Some places will leave it on, some places will remove it. And then you really wanna go through your squid. And so I found one to show you that has the squid ink sac broke. That's what they take to make the squid ink pasta with. You can buy the squid ink, you can buy it in a jar already. But for now, when we're doing this, we wanna get rid of this ink sac. So we wanna make sure we're inspecting each tube that they're gone. 1 cup of water, it doesn't have to be exact. 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Baking soda is gonna do some type of chemical reaction that's gonna make it more tender. It works for shrimp too, makes the shrimp more plump. And for big tubes like this, we really wanna go through this extra step. If you had really small ones, I would say you could probably just skip this step. Oh yeah, I wanna show you one thing. Now you know, because we're doing 7 fishes, that we have to have this. That's bacala, and it's not cheap, $12.49 a pound. That's expensive. You could get regular cod for less money. Costco has it now, because we went to Costco yesterday after we bought this in another store. They have it for $8.49 a pound. You know, it really wouldn't be the Feast of the Seven Fishes if you don't have this. And you know, if you can't find it, you could do regular cod. But that's gonna be at the end of this series. Just wanted to show you now. I'm just gonna cut these up into rings, about 1/2 inch to 1/4 inch. As you cut these, make sure if you feel any hard material, then you have part of the beak still, and you have to remove that. This is actually, when you cut them now, you're gonna be able to find out if there's anything that you missed. Makes sense, right? About that size. Doing seven seafood dishes is tough. It's tough also to keep everything warm and because that's when it's optimal. Seafood doesn't really work well when it's reheated, so you almost need kind of help in the kitchen. Everything's cut up and they're all in this 1 cup of water, 1.5 cups of water, doesn't matter, and 1 teaspoon of baking soda. We're gonna do the salad first. I'm gonna do 1 cup of celery. And obviously my cutting board has been cleaned very well because this is our raw salad ingredients and nothing's happened to this, and that was the raw calamari we had. Ideally, you know, you use a big plastic cutting board, something you can put in the dishwasher. I started that way, but it was just easier to get them on here. Quarter cup to 1/2 cup, as much as you like. Make sure you remove the stems here. This is going in a cold salad. This is not being cooked at all. Green olives. You know, you could change these up if you don't have green olives and you want to put capers, you can use that too. The black oil cured olives, I love those. And do about a 1/4 cup of these, but you can do more if you really like them. If you have big pieces, you can slice nice pieces. If you have little tiny pieces like this, I'm just kind of running my knife through it. One clove of garlic, and just turn it into a paste. Either use your knife like I'm gonna do here, or if you have like a garlic press or something. The reason you want a paste here is this is going in a raw salad, and like the dressing is raw and it's not gonna be cooked. So even like a little piece, if you try to dice it, might be a little too powerful. So if you make it into a paste, it'll kind of like dissolve with the oil. I always use one of these little cutting boards that can go in the dishwasher, because when you make a paste, your knife, it tends to like embed it. Okay, so I'm just gonna chop it to start. Kosher salt. That salt's gonna create like a coarseness so the garlic won't fly away, and it'll be easier for you to just turn it into a paste. Taking my hands, my fingers on my knife, and I'm just applying a lot of pressure, kind of using a tip. And there you go, you have garlic paste in about 20 seconds. These are very juicy, so I'm just gonna use 1.5 right now. Okay, I dropped a pit or two in there, I'm gonna take them out. About a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. You could also use hot chili flakes if you want. And then olive oil, about 1/2 cup. This doesn't have to be exact. You'll be able to add more after the calamari goes in here. If it's a little dry and you need more, you add more lemon juice. You can make all those final adjustments. This is the good olive oil, extra virgin olive oil that I'm using, Frantoio Barbera, but you can use any olive oil you want. And you really want to mix this well to get that garlic paste incorporated. Because if you don't get that paste really mixed around, somebody might get a full bite of it, you know? Okay, we'll put this over to the side. Water's basically boiling. You want to have ice water right on the side. Basically, calamari can be cooked 2 ways. Really short period of time or really long period of time. If you cook it in between, it tends to be tough and rubbery. So we're doing a really short period of time right now. All right, this was rinsed. It only went for 15 minutes. You can almost like set a stopwatch for this. I'm watching the time. It's been about 20 seconds. You could also just take one out and feel it, and that's pretty good right there. Okay, let it sit for about 3-4 minutes to get really cool. While those are cooling off, I'm just gonna take a test bite right here. I thought maybe those olives, that 1/2 cup of olives would be enough, but it's not. I'm gonna do about 1 teaspoon of salt. And I think I'm gonna add a little hot pepper in it too. And they're completely cool to the touch. And we're just gonna really coat it well. We wanna let this sit for about an hour before you serve it. You wanna let it get really, really cold. There's plenty of ways you can make calamari. You can skip the cornstarch. You can just do straight flour. You can use semolina. I've never tried bread flour or double O. I'm sure that works. And this is kind of on the light batter side. Also, rice flour will give you an even lighter coating. So those are all good. There's a ton of different ways to do this. You shouldn't think any way is the best. Maybe just try a bunch. Try this one, try other ones. But this one works pretty well. And just remember, two parts flour to 1 part cornstarch. So I'm gonna do 3/4 cup cornstarch, 1.5 cup flour. I like this little baking dish that has kind of like a 2-inch sides. It allows when I've done this for chicken cutlets, I've used the same thing. Whenever I'm like breading, frying a lot of stuff, I like it so it doesn't fall over the side. You set your oven to 170 or the lowest it'll go. Maybe yours goes to 180. And as you're frying, and we're gonna fry in batches, and we're gonna put on this wire rack. If you're doing a lot of batches, you can have a couple of these going, and you can keep one in the oven so you're keeping them crisp and keeping them warm. As far as like the garnish, there's parsley here and lemon wedges. If you wanted a sauce with it too, like if you want to do a spicy marinara or an arrabbiata sauce, make sure you do that before you fry your calamari. Right when it's fried and it comes out of that oil, you're gonna salt it and then it's ready to eat right away. It's the best when it's like that. I'm gonna fry in this big pot, something deep, because you wanna be able to put about 2 inches of oil in there. I'm gonna use canola oil. If you don't have a large pot like this, you can use a cast iron, pretty deep cast iron. And finally, if you don't have that, you could use something like this that we boiled the calamari in. Now this is thin, it doesn't hold the heat as well, and that's normally why you want to fry in something very thick, like a Dutch oven, cast iron, etc. You definitely want whatever it is to be high enough so the oil doesn't splatter everywhere. And you don't do this too often, but you do have to use a lot of oil. All right, so I'm gonna turn my heat. I know what my pan is, what it takes to get to 375, because I've done this so many times. You're gonna know on yours, the more you do this. If you have an oil thermometer, this works really well, and you put it in like this, right on the side, right into the oil, but don't let it touch the bottom, and that'll tell you when you get to 375. The best way to do this is to get your oil with a thermometer where you need it to be, and to test one, or even test a second one before you do a whole batch. We have our flour right here. I have the dried off calamari right here. We have our oil that we're waiting to get to 375, and then we have our really important wire rack on a baking tray. Have our oven set to 170 degrees Fahrenheit. Our plates are ready to go. And by doing that, it'll be perfectly crisp and hot and ready to eat right away. A little bit over 380 right now. It's gonna come down once we add in here, but let's do a test one. Let's see how it is. I'm shaking off the excess over here a lot. You're gonna do this when you do all your batches. Okay, one piece. It only takes about a minute, minute and a half, 2 minutes, not a lot of time at all. All right. There it is. Nice and light color. And we could even like taste it before we move on. We put a little bit of salt on it. But that's perfect. We're gonna move on to doing all of them. I'm putting them all in here like this. They're all going in above the flour. And then just shake off everything here. You'll get a better fry if you do this, and you won't have a lot of particles then in your oil either. And I'm not necessarily gonna put them all in here because I don't want to overcrowd it. As you put them in, just stand back and try to keep them in an open spot. About 2 minutes total cooking time. You can even set a stopwatch again. Temperature hit over 400. Now as you put weight in there, you're bringing it down and it's right about 375, which is the ideal oil temperature. So keep that in mind when you're gonna fry something. All right, that's been 2 minutes. And that's perfect. Look at that. Kind of keep your batches in a line so you know, and then you can salt this batch and then you won't salt the next batch, but you want to salt right when they come out of the oil. Okay, salt. Really, really shake that excess off. And if you're gonna save this like for the Feast of the Seven Fishes, you take those batches and you stick them in the oven at 170 and you'll be fine. All right, next batch. My family's gonna eat this batch because it's really, really nice right now. Gonna finish up the next couple of batches. All right, that's how you make fried calamari. My kids, and especially my son, he came over right away. They ate a bunch of it. So this is what I have left. I like it really lightly golden like this. This is typically how you're gonna see it in a restaurant. You give a few rings, I'd say a few tentacles and more rings. That's typically what people like. And just like that. In addition to that fried calamari, we have our cold calamari salad that we left in the fridge for an hour to get really cold and to really absorb the flavors. And it just looks amazing and it's a different texture. It's different than the fried. Basically, it's like the yin and yang here. You have the cold salad and you have the crispy fried calamari. That is really, really good. The only thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a little bit more salt. So if you want more lemon juice, you want more extra virgin olive oil, you just add it on there. Look at how good that looks. Delicious and fried calamari. This is episode 1 of the Feast of the Seven Fishes. This is 2 dishes right here. There's probably gonna be more than 7. I know I said that in the beginning. Definitely got bacala coming up. We're gonna have clams, maybe mussels, shrimp. Haven't decided yet what other dishes are gonna be a part of there. You know, let me know anyone you want me to make, please leave it in the comments. Thank you for watching and I will see you next time.